got absolutely manhandled by this woman. Manhandled in his new morning television show. I laughed, I lost. Me too. But here's Don Lemon getting completely owned.
Well, this is coming when, there's all of this wealth, and you hear about it, comes as England is facing rising costs of living, a living crisis, austerity budget cuts, and so on. And then you have those who are asking for reparations for colonialism, and they're wondering, $100 billion, $24 billion here and there, $500 million there. Again. Some people want to be paid back, and members of the public are wondering, why are we suffering when you are, you have all of this vast wealth? Those are legitimate concerns.
Well, I think you're right about reparations in terms of if people want it, though, what they need to do is you always need to go back to the beginning of a supply chain. Where was the beginning of the supply chain? That was in Africa, and when across the entire world, when the slavery was taking place, which was the first nation in the world that abolished slavery? The first nation in the world to abolish it. It was started by William Wilberforce, was the British. In Great Britain, they abolished slavery. 2,000 naval men died on the high seas trying to stop slavery. Why? Because the African kings were rounding up their own people. They had them on cages waiting in the beaches. No one was running into Africa to get them. And I think you're totally right. If reparations need to be paid, we need to go right back to the beginning of that supply chain and say who was rounding up their own people and having them handcuffed in cages. Absolutely. That's where they should start. And maybe, I don't know, the descendants of those families where they died in the high seas trying to stop the slavery, that those families should receive something too, I think, at the same time.
It's an interesting discussion, Hillary. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We'll continue to discuss in the future.
Oh, all I can think is this.
Suck on this, Biden.
Honestly, incredible. That is like arguing or debating 101. It's just, you're right, his face is priceless. Just taking someone's argument and agreeing with them, but twisting it in a way where the other opponent or the other person is speechless. And he was just like, wait a minute. I love this becoming a part of the conversation, though. I mean, for the longest time, you weren't allowed to talk about some of this tribes in Africa that got rich after the slave trade, or the Portuguese that got rich after the slave trade, like, or the Muslims, like, or just like slavery all around the world. Like, this is slowly being allowed to talk about, which is very interesting to watch as someone. Like early 2000s, maybe 2010s, 90s. It was just like, you don't even bring that up. If you bring that up, it's because you're racist. You're just like, no, how about, like, I don't subscribe to your political cult, and I like to just talk about history. Oh, how dare you. But I like that this is becoming a part of the conversation, because it should be. Everything should be seen in the light of historical context, not just picking and choosing what you deem to be right and truth of the day based on how you feel, and just, I'm going to take this little story and create an entire narrative that shapes somebody in history forever, period.